Chapters in AYCM are much more than just simple text documents. They're really comprehensive story building blocks that helps you craft, organize, and manage all aspects of your narrative. So, think of each chapter as a complete workspace where you can write your story content while simultaneously tracking plot connections, character involvement, timeline placement, and project management details all in one area. Writing stories, or at least good stories, involves keeping track of countless details. Which characters appear in which chapters? How does this scene connect to your overall plot? What's the timeline of events? Am I hitting my writing goals? These questions become more and more complex as the story grows. And this is where the chapter system shines. The chapter features transforms the often chaotic process of story creation into an organized, manageable workflow. Instead of juggling separate documents for plot notes, character lists, and timeline tracking, everything lives within each chapter where you need it. This integration means you spend a lot less time searching for information and more valuable time actually writing. The chapter system encourages you to think about your story from multiple angles simultaneously. While you're writing dialogue, you can easily reference which characters are present. While developing a scene, you can check how it connects to your plot structure. This multi-layered approach naturally leads to more cohesive, well-developed stories. In this series of learning how to use the AYCM application, we're going to go over the chapters features of the application. In this features from your very first chapter to advanced organizational techniques. Now, when you're ready to start writing a new chapter, you have a few options to get things rolling. One of the quickest ways is to press Command-N on your keyboard, which will open a new chapter window. You can also start a new chapter by just clicking this icon in the toolbar menu. Additionally, you can start a new chapter by going through the traditional route in the Workbook section. Just click on Workbook in the sidebar menu here, then switch to the Editor section. Here you can create a new chapter. Once you've created your new chapter, you'll get a new window with several sections, that being General, Attributes, Plot, Events, and Management. The first thing you'll want to do is give your chapter a proper name. Expand the Chapter Details section to reveal some basic information about your chapter. Here you can add your title, subtitle, chapter number. Just so you know, the app won't let you create duplicate chapter numbers, so don't have to worry about accidentally creating 2 chapter 5s or anything like that. Next, you can add your word count goal. Just a quick little note about the chapter word count. The word count goal you set here is not applicable to your overall project word count goal when you first set up your project. This particular word count is to help you strike a good balance between your chapters. Also, there's a progress bar that fills up as you write, which is surprisingly motivating when you're trying to hit your daily writing targets. The main text area is where you'll do most of your actual writing. If you need to adjust the size of your text, you can do so by clicking the plus and minus buttons. Now, moving on to navigating the chapter sections. Your chapter window has several tabs across the top, as I mentioned earlier, each serving a different purpose. The General tab is where you'll probably spend most of your time, since it contains your chapter title, content, and basic information. The Attributes tab lets you add specific details about your chapter, like the time of day it takes place or weather conditions. The Plot tab helps you connect this chapter to your overall story structure and plot points. The Events tab is where you can link specific story events to this chapter, which is incredibly useful for keeping track of your timeline and making sure everything flows logically. Finally, the Management tab lets you track the status of your chapter, whether it's still a draft, in progress, under review, or complete. You don't need to fill out every section immediately. Just start with the General tab and explore the others as your story develops and you feel you want to add more detail and organization to your work. Going back to the Attributes section, this is where you'll set the scene. This section helps you keep track of the who and where of your chapter. The first thing you should do is add a quick chapter summary to say what this particular chapter is about. This will come in handy when you're skimming through your list of chapters and you need to see what one of your chapters is about without having to navigate to the Attributes section. Next, you can choose your narrator. Whose eyes are we seeing the story through? Pick from the list of characters you created in the Characters section of the application. Additionally, you can add involved characters as well. Which of your characters show up in this chapter? Select them so you can track who appears where. Next, set the location. Where does this chapter take place? If you haven't created any locations yet, you'll need to create a new location in the Locations section of the application. Next is the Plot tab. This is where you make sure your chapter fits into your overall story structure. Here you can pick your plot type. Is this chapter a part of the main plot, subplot, or tertiary plot? Below that, you can choose this chapter's plot position. Is this chapter in the beginning, the middle, or end? Or is this chapter a flashback and flash forward? If you've had decided what position you want the chapter to be placed in, just mark it as unplaced. Moving on to the Events section. This is where you can add events that you've created to your chapters. Events are essentially scenes for your chapter. We'll discuss events in more detail in a separate video. For now, just know that elements from your events can be added to your chapters and is great for tracking certain statistics about your work. Last is the Management tab. This is your project management hub, keeping you organized and on track. Here, you can mark your progress, update your status, create tasks, and so on. Use this section to manage your chapter. When you're ready to save your chapter, just click the Save button here in the top right corner of the window. You'll see a confirmation message letting you know your work has been saved successfully. The app also automatically syncs your work to iCloud if you have it set up, so your chapters will be available on all your devices running iOS. If you decide you want to cancel your changes, click the Cancel button instead. The app will ask if you're sure you want to discard your work, which prevents you from accidentally losing something important. If you're editing an existing chapter, canceling will revert it back to the last saved version. Let's move on to review the Editor section of the workbook area. The Editor section is not just where you can create chapters, but this is where you'll have all your chapters listed chronologically. Each card represents a single chapter that you've created. Each chapter card displays information about what's in your chapter at a glance. It shows things like chapter number, title, and chapter summary if you've created one. There's also some tags to identify important elements regarding the chapter, such as if your chapter's completed or not, your chapter's status, if it's a draft or in progress. Also, there's a tag to identify your chapter's plot type, if it's part of the main plot, subplot, or tertiary plot. If you click on any of these cards, you'll be presented with a more detailed view of the chapter you've created in the Details panel of the interface. Here, you can see the contents of the chapter. In this panel, you can edit the chapter, export or delete this particular chapter. Next, we're going to look at the Book section. This section serves as your story's dashboard and command center. Think of it as the overview page where you can see the big picture of your entire project at a glance. This is where all your chapters, plot points, and story elements come together to give you a comprehensive view of your work in progress. When you navigate to the Book section, you're looking at the heart of your project management system. This is everything you've written, planned, and organized, which flows into this central hub, giving you insights into your story structure, progress, and overall health. The first thing you'll notice in the Book section is the Book Project Overview card. This card is packed with essential information about your current project and serves as your project's vital statistics center. At the top of this card, you'll see your project's basic information, including the title and any author details you've included. Below that, you'll find comprehensive statistics about your writing progress. The word count section shows you exactly how many words you've written across all your chapters, giving you a real-time view of your project's scope. The overview card also displays metadata about your project, such as when it was created, when you last worked on it, and other important tracking information. This helps you understand your writing patterns and stay on top of your project timeline. Below the main overview, you'll see several distribution cards that break down different aspects of your story structure. These cards give you analytical insights into how your story is organized and where you might want to make adjustments. The Chapter Plot Distribution card shows you how your chapters are distributed across different plot categories. This helps you understand whether your story has good pacing and balance between different types of scenes. If you notice too many chapters clustered in one plot category, you might want to add more variety to keep your readers engaged. The Chapter Progress Distribution card reveals how many of your chapters are in different stages of completion. You can quickly see how many chapters are still drafts, how many are in progress, and how many you've considered finished. This overview helps you prioritize your writing time and understand exactly where you stand in your overall project. The chapter position distribution card analyzes where your chapters fall within your story structure. This might show you how many chapters are in your opening, middle, climax, or resolution sections. Understanding this distribution helps you ensure your story has proper pacing and that you're not spending too much time in any one section. The chapter system isn't just about organizing your writing, it's about elevating your entire creative process. By combining professional writing tools with intelligent story management features, you'll get everything you need to take your story from initial concept to polished manuscript.